Not all release plans are created equal. Hey, this is Coach D here, and we're going to talk about parole board respected parole prep plans. That's a lot of P's, right? But I wanted to share with you the way to get to a well respected parole board plan is through the pillars that we've created in our community, like prepare, research, execute, practice, prep. And you see the pillars here, and you're going to be seeing more of them because I believe it's the difference that makes the difference in becoming parole board ready. So, our target audience are long term inmates who have been denied parole over and over again. Just this past week, we heard that a gentleman was denied parole for lack of release plan, not a good release plan. And so he was continued even after being in prison for decades for another 24 months. And so he is not, or was it 23 months? I think it was 23 months. And so he is not happy about that. I don't know who would be happy about that, but his release plan has to be respected by the parole board. And so hopefully he'll give us a call and we'll be able to help him. We've got a little time to, work with them. But here are the pillars that we have, and the purpose of each pillar, right? So, pillar number one, the purpose is to align support with ownership, insight, and accountability. Pillar number two, verify realistic board credible reentry pathways. Pillar number three, demonstrate structure, boundaries, and risk management. And number four, build consistency, calm, and process fluency. Got to practice how you communicate to the parole board. And so not all plans are created equal, right? Some look good on paper but fail the credibility test. So today we're going to break down very, very quickly what makes a plan board respected, okay? First and foremost is stability. So the board prioritizes these four things. They give weight to a lot more, but over the last 10 years that we've been coaching individuals, doing some reentry coaching, these four really rise to the top. Housing security, you're going to hear about this a lot. The fundamentals of the plan don't change, but how you communicate them does. So housing security, income reliability, support structure strength, unclear plans create uncertainty. Look, housing security is important. People need housing security. They need to be in housing environments that will allow them opportunity to, one, decompress from prison. It's really important to begin that process of decompression and then navigate through the reintegration process. That takes a little while, and you need some place to be. You need to land soft somewhere where you can have the liberty to do some of the things that you've been dreaming about doing for a long time. Income reliability. It's important to create the relationships with employment centers before coming home. And there's a high probability to guarantee employment while you're in prison, right? So we like to help people do that so that that income is steady, which is reliability. Support structure strength. Who is supporting you? Is it family, friends, community support? Where is the support? So we need to know what that support is. It's different for everybody. It really is. But we need to know the strength of that support. And sometimes there are gaps in there that we have a measurement tool to be able to help identify gaps where we can help you strengthen these areas that the board prioritizes. Okay, but unclear plans for sure create uncertainty. Realism over optimism. We need to be realistic about plans. We don't want to be over ambitious about employment plans. Like, I've been dreaming of being a construction worker and being a framer for decades, and I've been doing this in prison, helping out, and I know I can do it in the community, but without knowing who is hiring people with criminal history in the community to do that, you could be overly ambitious. So we need to know what those employment plans could look like and be as realistic as possible. So we need to verify resources. We don't want to have resources that we haven't verified. So if you want to go to a halfway house, that's your housing choice. Have you verified whether or not you qualify for the program in the halfway house? Everything is about verification. Emotional promises. This is a big one. So a lot of times family, friends, loved ones will overpromise, and it's out of emotion, but we have to rein that in. And so there are ways to do that, and there are ways to be realistic. Realistic plans build trust. Documentation matters. So evidence strengthens plans, right? Letters. Who's going to write your letter? We need to know that. We need to know what the letter is going to say, right? Because again, we don't want to overpromise and we don't want to be emotional in our letters. Verifying housing, we talked about that. Employment confirmation, talked about that. Program records, we haven't talked about too much, but it counts. And there are programs on tablets that people could take. There are programs in the institution that you can take depending on where you're housed or where your loved one is housed will dictate what programs they qualify for, but programming is important. So documentation reduces doubt. Integration strategy. Successful plans address these three things. Community adjustment, right? Routine structure. Now, that's really important because people that live in prison, I've never served one day, so I don't know what it's like to live in prison, but for the years that I've been doing this work, most people that have been successful on our reentry coaching model, appreciate the routine structure that they've had in prison. And after decades of having a routine, coming back into community without a routine creates a lot of what's called dead space, dead time. And so we don't want that. So we have to imagine what that routine looks like even before the person comes home, okay? Because routine structure is important. Accountability systems, very important, which is why I think parole is important too, because of the structure of the accountability of parole. People don't like it, but the persons on our reentry coaching platform, they over time come to appreciate it. So, parole can be good. It can be good. So transition planning is critical. Respected plans show stability, demonstrates readiness, reduces perceived risk. That's what influences decisions. Okay. So we just wanted to touch a little bit on board respected parole prep plans so that you're informed about, in our opinion, the best strategy that increases readiness, increases the odds of release when plans are prepared the right way. So we hope to see you in the community where you're around a lot of people that actually get it. Want you to really know that you're not in this by yourself, and we'd love to be able to help you. Any questions you have, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. Hopefully you've appreciated this information. Give us a like, right? And we'll see you in the next video.